In mid-November in northern Wisconsin, 34 Necromunda gamers gathered to play some Necromunda. What gangs did they bring? Find out this time on JD in the Sump Sea. Welcome back to JD in the Sump Sea. I'm Jay, and today we're looking at the gangs of the Ash Waste Weekend 2025. And if you like looking at beautifully painted and converted Necromunda gangs, then perhaps you should bust out your Warhammer and smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that bell icon so you don't miss any of our videos. Now, back to the gang showcase of the Ash Waste Weekend 2025. Alright, so the first gang is called the Imperium Sanctioned Bounty Hunters. They're a Venator gang, and they use the new Death Corps of Krieg Death Rider models and several other conversions as well. Very, very nicely painted models, and the display board really matches it. The creator of the gang even wrote a short story and made it look like an Imperium communique. The second gang is called the Orb Weavers. They're a Spire-led Van Saar gang, and I really love the display board for this. Not only is there lights on it, but they also flicker to make it more realistic. Really nice clean paint jobs, and they even have a little spider named Webster. Thought that was a pretty cool touch. The yellow is quite striking, and the nameplates on the bases add a little extra something to the gang. The next gang is the Mining Co-op number 6434, a Gene Stealer cult gang. They're on this really nice display board that is 3D printed rocks along with the Games Workshop Ash Waste terrain. They are using object source lighting of the lights on the terrain, and the bases of the models themselves use a crackly red paint which actually makes it look like the red surface of Mars, or perhaps what the Ash Waste would look like. Very, very nice paint job. Now this gang, Susan and the Meat Shields, are a Goliath gang, and the player who brought this one actually was the winner last year, and I thought it was only appropriate that the very first gang, the very first 66 of the weekend, was the leader of this gang, which was the leader of the gang from last year. Very nicely painted, very nice conversions. Alright, this gang is the Periwinkle Penumbra, a Dalak gang. They have a Cargo 8 Ridge Hauler in the gang and a very nice display board to go with it. The skin color is more of a bluish hue, which is not something I've seen much on Dalak. Usually they're more white. Very nice looking, very cohesive gang. And next we come up to a bounty hunter gang, La Raquel, a Venator gang made up of Dalak models, a Beastmen model from the new Kill Team box set, and a number of the resin Dramatis Personae of Necromunda. A very cool gang. This gang is the Cerebral Whispers. They're a Dalak gang using the old metal Dalak models for the majority of the gang. Very cool models, I've always loved them, and they have the more white skin in this gang, as I was referencing before. And this gang is the Killer Clowns in in the Ash Waste. They're an outcast gang made by iPaintSmallThings. Make sure you check out his YouTube channel here. He 3D printed and designed them and painted them, and that vehicle looks a lot like a Twisted Metal vehicle. Very cool. This is the Ashdar, an Eldar Exodite gang using the Ash Waste Nomads rules. Very cool looking gang. It's always fun to see Eldar riding dinosaurs. You just don't see it very often. This next gang is another Spire-led Van Saar gang called the Plasmatics. I wonder if they got the name from the Wendy O. Williams band. Nice paint job, very nice color scheme as well. They also have a spider. Alright, and then this is a Slaanesh-themed Chaos Helot gang. Slaanesh themed, I say, because of the color scheme. The display board is also really nice. I believe they're 3D prints. These are the models from the Blackstone Fortress game. This guy is particularly impressive with his chain glaive conversion. Very nice paint jobs on all of them. Very cool looking gang. And next we have the Scrapfane Brethren, a Venator gang. And the player who brought this gang really went above and beyond. The amount of diverse models that are used in this gang is really something, including this interesting walker vehicle. A lot of 3D prints here, a lot of really nice paint schemes. And this blimp is just beyond. You can actually open up the side panels of the blimp and play a game inside of it. He came up with this backstory that includes this really cool printing right here, and then the entire backstory is right here on this white piece of paper he printed out, so you can read this through if you want to know more about them. There's a number of Ogrins in the gang, and even a man of iron, you might say. These guys look like Jawas, and I think they're just fantastic. Pile of scrap in the blimp. It's so massive it's hard to understand unless you see it in person. Very great job. Next we have Grifter Joe's gang. It's an enforcer gang led by a Spire, and this gang is really quite nice, very nice paint job. There's a Cargo 8 in the gang, there's a crazy Psyker model, one of the resin ones as well, and an Ambot as well. There's a number of different hard case Cyber Mastiffs, just adds a little something extra to the gang. Very cool. I'd like to talk briefly about our channel's sponsor, Badger Games. Badger Games sells a wide variety of hobby supplies and miniatures games on their website. From the Silver Bayonet and Cromlech to Gaslands and Bolt Action, they offer dozens of miniature games and model lines. This is their booth at Gen Con, and they also travel the country, setting up their booth at other hobby conventions, so check out their website at badgergames.com and use our code JD2025 on your next purchase, and you'll really help out the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Now back to the video. This is an Orlok gang called the Adepts of the Grey Dusts. There's some really nice conversions in here, and they use a lot of different Orlok parts from a lot of different Orlok kits. Very cool looking models, very nicely painted. I also like the display board. Great terrain on there as well. Next we have an all-Spire gang called the Hive Primus Yacht Club. I really like the paint job on these. I like they use the Dark Eldar Raider as their yacht. And I have to mention the display board with the water effects with the resin pour. Just really nicely done. It looks fantastic. It looks fantastic. Great gang, great paint job. And here we have an Outcast gang called the Scrap Code Synod. These are a bunch of different interesting models, including Trader Guardsmen. and they're really a uniform looking gang as far as a Chaos Corrupted gang can look, because that's what they look like, is a Chaos Corrupted Imperial Guard unit, and I think that was probably the point. There's a couple of Psychers, and there's this really neat looking two-legged walker, this little sentinel type thing. Very, very cool gang. Next we have the Ashwaste Fedaiken, a Ashwaste Nomads gang with a display board that really shows what their settlement out in the Ashwaste might look like. It looks like they're doing some sort of mining, or they have some sort of heavy equipment that they're doing work in the wastes in, and this is their fortress. They even have one of their, centipede pets there with them. But really nice paint jobs, a great display board, some great conversions in there as well. Really nice gang. Look at that giant skull. Just added so much extra to that base with that skull. These are the Refinery Raiders, a Venator gang. Now they're also really neat because they're also using a lot of different models from a lot of different ranges. And very nice paint job. It is like, again, like a kind of a work site out in the Ash Wastes. There was a cage there for prisoners and a tower. And they have some motorcycles. Very cool gang. Very nice. I think there was even a Beastman and an Ogren in the gang. Next we have an Escher gang, the Metal Maidens, and it's probably not only metal because of the music, but because it's an all-metal, old-school Escher gang. And that giant beast is just amazing. It must be a Chimerics. But look at those, look at the paint job on these classic Necromunda models. Just fantastic. Really had a good selection of them as well. And the jet bikes too were just fantastic paint jobs. This is Dale's Outcast gang, Sumpy's Scurvy Dogs. He brought an entire boat and a couple of sump tiles just for the display. This was a great Ogren that he got from a buddy at the event, and he painted him up that day on Thursday. But yeah, if you look at these models, they're a great mixture of different models, and just really cool paint job, really blends in with the Sump theme of the gang, and that's Sumpy himself, the Sump Pirate and leader of the gang. This is an Ash Waste Nomads gang called Studio Greebly. Very, very nicely painted gang. I really like the color scheme used, and that beast just looks amazing with the blue. And then the mounts here were also just amazing paint jobs, and that wire that is used on this one guy that acts as like lightning or like psychic power just is so cool. Just such a great addition to the gang. And this is the Middenval Starborn Goliath gang. This gang was built by Purp Miniatures, and his YouTube channel is here. Make sure you check it out. He's got some videos on how he built these guys. The story is really cool behind them, and the conversion work is great. And I love this vehicle here. It's just perfect for the Ashways. Here is the Slag Collars, an Ogren gang. Really interesting conversions, and there's this great story about them right here on this piece of paper. But there's some great conversions in here, and there's an Ambot, and a great vehicle. I believe it was 3D printed. But yeah, look at these guys. And that guy there on the right has robotic legs. Just a really nice paint job, really good looking, cohesive gang. For Ogrens, of course. They're the Adamant Rasp, an Orlok gang. Very nice work on the gang so far, and the vehicle is really cool. Alright, moving on to the Goliaths, the Furnace Blowers. This gang is also really cool, has some interesting models selection, including a Sump Croc, and a stimmer. There's a rogue dock in the back there, as well as a mauler. Very nicely painted. Very great paint job on these. And I love this orc vehicle conversion that they did. It's perfect for a Goliath Ash Waste vehicle. Here is another Goliath gang, the Blood Bomb Brawlers. This vehicle is such a great looking, crazy vehicle conversion, and the models in this gang are just covered in blood, and they're just so brutal looking, and I love the paint job, and the conversion work is great too. That hammer that guy has is just enormous. But yeah, great gang, great paint job. They just look fantastic together. Again, look at this guy's hammer. Crazy. This is a really clean, really nice painted Enforcer gang, the Vasona Regis 14th Precinct. That vehicle is a great conversion, and so are a lot of these models. If you look at them, that guy right there has some sort of knight armor conversion that he used. Really, really cool stuff. These jet bikes are fantastic conversions as well. I love the paint job on this. I love the conversions. I love the models, the way they're posed, and the base is really nice too and thematic. Great gang overall. And here is the Corpse Grinders, the Meat Men. They are really, really nicely painted, and there's that great 3D printed vehicle there that takes them all with a big claw, with a big attack arm on the front. It's just a great gang, great conversion, a lot of interesting model selection for the models, and great paint job on all of these. This is Matt from Cursed Manufactorum. The link to his blog is in the description below. Well, I hope you enjoyed looking at all the gangs from the Ash Waste weekend from 2025, and I hope that you post in the comments below what your thoughts are on the gangs and what you might bring if you were to attend an Ash Waste weekend in the future. I'll soon have a recap video of the whole weekend, and so look out for that. And also, I do plan on doing something a bit different coming up very soon, something from, say, 20-ish years ago. So stay tuned for that, but that's all I've got for you this time, and as always, please like and subscribe.